Okay, that's a 13-inch diameter log. We have a bunch of bigger logs that are shorter. They're like 5 foot, somewhere in there. And they're kind of too short for trail armoring, but I now have a project that has moved from concept phase to proof of concept phase, and I need a bunch of 2x6's. I need like as long as it's 8 foot, but I need a bunch of shorter ones to make some platforms. So let's get started. So that's a 5.5 inch wide by 9 inch or so high cant. We're gonna cut 2x6's out of that. So 1.5 by 5.5. All right, let's have a look-see. So can you tell why I stopped and the blade won't cut anymore? How about this right here? I got my sawmill blade to cut metal. So I think my saw blade is toasted. Oh yeah, look. There's not much left of oh yeah, they're all just gnarled up. Those don't look so bad. I think the bottom parts are all narked up. Yeah, these are all shot. All right, well, time for a new blade. It was gonna happen soon anyways, but the question is, do I stop now, put a new blade on, impending rain, or do we take our spoils and go in the basement and do some work? I don't know. Okay, so we got 5.5 inches, 1.5 inches. That's a little heavy, but it's all right. So we got these boards to work on our project. We'll show you what that is in a second. All right, let's just have a quick look with our meter. What we got here for some readings. 14, 15, 13. How about this stuff up here? 18. Yeah, this is a little bit more punky, I think. 29. Yeah. So that I don't think is good for, I think it's just kind of starting to get punky. This stuff here, 25, yeah, 20. All right, well, I'll have to see. I got some pieces that I can use that are in pretty good shape, because this structure we're building is just going to be outside in the weather anyway, so I don't need to dry it down to 8%, but I also don't necessarily want the screws popping out either. Okay, here we have, I think it's 11 foot. I believe it's an ash. We changed out the saw blade because you can kind of see it kind of took a divot out of my support there, so I got a new blade on. We cut some more two-dimensional 2x4s and some 2x6s for our project, which we've been not delayed, but we've been on vacation for a bit. So we're gonna get this thing cut up. We'd like to make some 2x6s, maybe a 2x8, and at least 8 foot long. So we'll see what we can get out of it. All right, we got it wasn't as straight, I guess. So this is a 5.5 inch cant, and now I'm gonna cut 1.5 inch boards out of that. And my goal is to hope to get at least 6 structural 2x6 by 8 foot. Okay, here we have, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 dimensional 2x6s, at least 8 foot long. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bottom, this is a 3/4, which we might use. This is a pine board, 1 inch by 3/4, 6 inches. 6 inches by 1. This is 6 inch by like 3/4 ash. I need those for side pieces. These are structural 2x6s and structural 2x4s. And I think that should get us pretty close on our project to a fire-in solution. All right, with that being said, we got to clean all this up and relax for a moment.
let's have a look. Here's our first system, 3 tiers, because at some point I need to get the ground, so that's a deck, right? Sometimes the ground is 18 inches, sometimes it's 27 inches. So some parts I need to raise the scaffold platform 27 inches. Sometimes I only need to raise it 18. So I can either do 1 or 2 or 3 sections depending on how high I need. Those are 6-inch lifts. So, you know, if the ground was uneven, these would be level. And then that would be 8 foot long, right? So not that close. 1 2x6. A second 2x6. And then what we need to do is be able to move to get these things lined up, right? Right, so we can move it. Ow, hurt my finger. So that's what those things can slide. This one, once it's in place, we'll screw it in, and that will lock the top frame to the bottom frame. These have these little tabs so that it cannot go past safe zone, but it does not lock in place. So I'm not sure. That was the second one I think I like better, that screws in, but this is very nice. And there's no screws, you just slide it around until you get what orientation you need. So the distance from here to the deck is like 7 foot if it's a 7-foot scaffold, and we only got like 12 inches, 8 inches here to deal with before it falls off. So this has to be pretty fixed, and then we have to, once you put these down, I want them to be able to adjust so we get it lined up just right and lock them in. So we put one down, and then this one goes on top. Thereabouts. So this has to get moved a little bit. And then we would put this on top for the wheel rides. These keep the boards inside and will bolt through here. So the intent is, let's do it here. So the boards would come in halfway up to there, that's so they can have on the other side too, so you can have a nice long runway. And then there would be a bolt that goes all the way through. I think we're gonna block this. Block it and then bolt it all the way through. Put a bolt so that this cannot come up, can wiggle just a little bit. I don't know if we like it wiggling. I guess we gotta make it lift. Yeah, we'll put blocking in here to make it pretty tight. The bolt will hold the 2x6s to the supports. And then this, put it on this way. I guess we'll put it on this way. Then this will be a 2x6 with some strips on the side. Keeps the 2x6s contained inside. And we can bolt through here to keep the top part onto the 2x6 supports. That's the plan. I cut enough for these. These are, it's all out of, you know, ash, so it weighs like a freaking ton. But I didn't have any more scrap regular lumber, and I didn't want to like go buy a whole mess because I don't know if this is going to work. So I just cut up some logs there in the back, They're ash. That's what I had, and we put them together. Strong, but weighs a shitload. I did cut the 2x6s for these 2 rails, 2 supports, and then the flat piece. So not tomorrow because we have grandkids. Maybe Thursday we'll see if we can get that lined up and see what kind of blocking and bolts we need to get it all put together right. I was first thinking that these 2x6s could be bolted together, screwed together, but they're going to be out of ash. They're just going to weigh too effing heavy. So I'm going to have to like bolt them together in place.